Hi everybody. In today's masterclass, we are going to learn about variability. Now, this is one of the most important topics in PSM. Now, as you know that each masterclass is divided into smaller videos. So this masterclass will have 6 individual videos, and as we go along, we will complete this masterclass. So what's variability to start with? Whenever in statistics we are presented with a set of data, we are expected to make some sense out of it. In last few lectures, we learned to use central tendency, the concept of central tendency, to make and analyze the data given to us. Variability is another tool in statistics by which you can analyze the data. Let's see any set of data which you can get. Height of students in a class, fasting blood sugar levels, weight of a sample population, earning of a sample population, any kind of data which you get. Each individual data will not be same, so that the data will differ, but they will fall into some range. To get an understanding of that range is basically what is variability. Let's say fasting blood sugar levels of a diabetic patient. Now the lowest may be 40, the highest may be 300. So that range, that variability, suppose the thyroid levels in a normal population. So whatever that is called variability. Now how to measure it? Basically there are two different ways of observations. First is individual observations. As you can see, this is our sample population and we have drawn 5 individual observations from the sample population. Or this is our sample population and we have taken, this is our entire population and we have taken 3 subset of observations, and in each these subset there are multiple observations. So basically they could be individual observations like this, or they could be multiple samples, and in each sample there will be multiple observations. So there are different statistical tools in each of these cases. Let's see the first case. In case of individual observation. In case of individual observations, various tool available to us are range. Like say I already talked about range. Height of a student studying in class 10th in a XYZ school. The range may be from 130 centimeters to 185 centimeters. So that is the range. Another could be interquartile range. Standard deviation, coefficient of variation. Again, this is for individual data sets. So each of these we are going to learn in detail as we move forward, especially standard deviation, which forms a very important part of the PG entrance MCQ. Also coefficient of variation. In case of samples, when there is an entire population and we draw samples, subset of that population as samples, and in that there's individual observations. That there are so many ways, but 3 most important which I'm going to discuss is standard error of mean, standard error of proportion, standard error of correlation coefficient. Now you have to understand that each of these sample will have their range, their own standard deviation, their own standard coefficient, each of these. Now which will be different from the entire population standard deviation, range, coefficient of variation. So once we compare different samples in the same population, that is how we come to standard error of mean or standard error of proportion. So this standard error is not exactly an error. This is one of the most important points you have to take in mind. This standard error is the difference of the observations of one particular set of observations in a study from the entire population. So it's the difference. Now we will understand each of these concepts very deep as we move forward. Thank you. This brings us to the end of the first part.